Hello and welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute-a-day podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse, recorded here in the dining room of the Bible Bistro, located in Sharonville, Ohio. Hey there, friend. Welcome back to Daily Dose Radio here in the Bible Bistro. Well, you've made it with me all this week. Thank you for doing that. We've been studying Psalm 127 this week. It's a part of the larger body of Psalms called the Ascent Psalms. That began in 120, and we're going to go all the way through to 134 with the Ascent Psalms. And so we're heading up to Jerusalem. And this Psalm of Solomon, and it's beautiful that it's of Solomon, he begins by talking about building the house. And who better to talk about building the house than Solomon? Yeah, he said there, it's that if the Lord doesn't build the house, it's vain for men to even try. And if the Lord doesn't keep the city, it's vain for men to try, because the Lord's the one that has to do it. It's His work. And vanity, friends, becomes us, doesn't it? Because we try, we work so hard to do so many things, and rarely do we call on the Lord and ask Him to bless, to keep, to build. We don't seek His will. And so vanity is in so many different quarters. Well, we talked about that in verses 1 and 2. In verse 3, we kind of change a little bit because we go from the thing that's vain to the thing that's blessed. And the thing that's blessed is children. Oh, and we saw that these children begin with the fruit of the womb, the great fruit of the womb, which is the Lord Jesus. But the church has a womb as well. And children are born to the church. And who's the one that does that work? Well, the Lord does. He's the one that gives children. And so the folks that come by blood, by water, and by spirit, those are the ones that the Lord gives to the church, and they're like arrows. These ones that go out, they defend, they proclaim the gospel. The preaching of the gospel is like a sharp arrow into the heart. For some, it's a savor of death unto death, and for some, it's a savor of life unto life. But whatever it is, there's an effect when the gospel is preached. And it's like arrows in the hand of a mighty man. The Lord takes those children born to the church and He preaches the gospel in the world by them. And so these sons who are the sons of one's youth, they're taught of the church. And so we come today to verse 5 and notice, happy is the man who has his quiver filled with them. They will not be ashamed when they speak with their enemies in the gate. So happy is the man that has his quiver full of them. Who's the man? Well, the mighty man in verse 4, we said that's the Lord. He's the one shooting the arrows. And so again, here in verse 5, who's the happy or blessed man? It's the Lord, because He has His quiver filled with them. The Lord's the one that gives them. The Lord's the one that uses them. The Lord is the one that blesses the church because of them. Blessed is the man who has his quiver filled with them. Now, that can also mean the children in your home. These are a blessing too. And the more children you have, the more blessing you have, because you have all of these folks seated around your table, and they are being taught of the Lord, taught to be obedient to the Lord because you're teaching them, and they're growing up as well, as David says in another place, like firm, strong olive trees around your table. It's beautiful, isn't it? All your children, boys and girls, growing up strong in the Lord and knowing His love, mercy, grace, and judgment. It's wonderful. So blessed is the man who has his quiver filled with them. They will not be ashamed when they speak with their enemies in the gate. And again, we have, as I said yesterday, these sons who are like arrows. They're defending the church. And when they speak with their enemies in the gate, because they've been raised up to know right from wrong, to know the Lord's word, then they're able to do so. The Targum, this is from Mason Neal's commentary, he says this, quote, the Targum explains this verse coupled with the former one of spiritual children, saying, quote, blessed is the man who fills his school with them. They shall not be confounded when they contend with their adversaries in the gate of the house of judgment. The literal sense is that a family parleying with the heralds of a hostile army or threatened with a lawsuit to be adjudged at the city gate is in little danger of seeing its right overborne by might, when there are strong sons to take care that their father is not wronged. And so, church interpreted this as the doctors of the church were happy when they had trained men who were able to contend with and to defend the church against heresy in every age. And so here we have that very thought, I think, borne out, blessed. It's a blessedness for the church to have these children. And to repeat that in every age. Having the children because the Lord gives the children, training the children defend and teach, and then the process is repeated in the next age. So these enemies within the gate, they're always going to be there, and we must be ready to defend. Hope that you'll join me again next time. We'll look at Psalm 128 here on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. For more fresh and delicious Bible studies, podcasts, books, and more, check out the Bible Bistro online and on YouTube. Join me again next time for Daily Dose Radio.